Angelo Ogbonna is facing a lengthy spell on the sidelines after a scan revealed that the defender injured his anterior cruciate ligament in Sunday's win over Liverpool. The Italian was forced off in the first half after sustaining a cut above his eye following a collision with Jota. But that incident came minutes after he received treatment on his knee from medical staff. He went down after his boot appeared to get caught in the turf while he was racing back to defend against Mohamed Salah. The 33-year-old underwent a scan on Monday, which revealed the bad news, and he will now see a specialist to ascertain the extent of the damage. ACL injuries can take up to 9 months to recover from if surgery is required, though that is not clear at this stage. West Ham's head of medical, Richard Coligny, I think that's how you pronounce his name, after being substituted following a separate incident that led to him suffering a cut above his eye, Angelo felt some discomfort in his right knee, so we scanned him to ascertain the extent of the injury. That scan has shown up some damage to the anterior cruciate ligament that we all know as ACL, and we have begun his rehabilitation immediately. Angelo will see another specialist this week, and we will then have a clearer picture around his timeline for recovery. David Moyes has options, as we know. Craig Dawson, who stepped up into the plate, and I'll run his stats for the game against Liverpool along the bottom. As you can see, 100% duels won, 5 out of 5, 34 touches, 4 clearances, 3 blocks, 2 aerial duels won, and 2 interceptions. He also has Issa Diop in his wings as a central defender who has stepped up to the plate for the Europa League. But there is no ifs or buts about it. This is big news and news that West Ham fans didn't want to hear. Now, I'm bringing on a guest, a regular on the channel, a West Ham Network original. Lucky boy, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Well, I was all right till I heard this news.
Well, I mean, it's not great news, is it? It's not great news. It's you know, all joking aside, everyone knows what my original opinion of Ogbonna was when he first came to the club.
Earlier.
And over the last 18 months to 2 years, I can't remotely sit there and say that he's not been one of our best central defenders in recent times, because he has been. He's been fantastic for West Ham. But at his age of 33 to get an injury like this ACL, again, we're waiting to hear about the specialists. But we can pretty much predict what we're going to get back from this news, can't we?
Yeah, I've been reading the comments on social media, and there was one comment that said it's not a rupture, which is the one you don't want. You really don't want, because it can end your career. I'm not a physio, I'm not a doctor, so I'd take the one comment on social media that I've seen that says it's different, is a bit more calm about it than everyone else. But it's like my name says. This is. I was listening to TalkSport earlier, and they said that they were like jumping on this. Simon Jordan was like straight away. He was like, "Yeah, well, this is the first of many. This is what they got to deal with. Yeah, good. This is this. This is how it is." So, and I was like, "Yeah, cheers for that." And it's kind of like you go, well, this is like, is this the start of it now? Because we've always had to fail with a groin injury and we're taking over. It's not what you want to hear. It's a terrible injury. And he comes against a player who's been informed for us. So it's not like someone you just go, "Oh, I haven't playing that well anyway." So it's it's not that you'd wish an injury on anyone. But yeah,
it's maybe a tough pill to swallow. However, David Moyes set out from the start, mate. He set out from the start to have 4 central defenders that could compete to the highest level. Now, we can't remotely take away from the fact that Moyes has utilised his squad, and I don't know how many games in total we've played this season. We've had 11 in the Premier League, we've had 2 in the Carabao Cup, and we've had 4, so that's 17 games. We have fully utilised this squad, and we have had players that are stepping up to the equation. Therefore, what Moyes is set out for is to have a player to cover in every single position, and he wants 4 central defenders. Now, if Augie is going to be missing, again, we have to wait till he goes to the specialist to see what's going to happen. We're going to have to wait and see what is going to be the outcome of this. But if it is not great news, bye, Mum. If it's not great news, then we have players that are capable of stepping in there. But is that then going to be enough to carry us through for the whole season? Does he go back into the market? Will he go back into the market?
Well, it's like we were saying. I think when he went off against Liverpool, I think the majority of fans out there went, "Bring on Diop," because of his pace will be better match for Liverpool's attack. And Dawson come on, and you're kind of like, oh, is he going to be all right? But he had a masterclass. It was almost like a perfect replacement. He actually almost played better than Ogbonna did in the first place. And it's kind of showed all season that we're worried about this squad rotation thing and players being able to step up to the mark. But we've not suffered. We've not had to worry. Every player that has gone into a position to replace or to fill in has done it remarkably well. And so there's a part. I think you said the same thing to me, Anton. Is the fact that the minute we heard about it, it was like, gutted. This isn't the last thing we needed right now. And then almost immediately you go, we'll be all right. We'll be fine. Dawson or Diop will step up. So someone will go in there. We'll be fine. Absolutely. It's almost like now we're not too worried if we get injured. The only one that we probably worry about is Antonio up front because no one to out and out replace him. But the minute you hear the news, you kind of go, it's okay. It's fine. We'll deal with it. And I've never known West Ham to be like that ever. You always go, oh no, we one injury and that's it. This was like season over. Which is a good thing. You've got players in the youth team who could maybe step up if they really want to. Like Johnson has at the right back. So on one end, it's absolutely gutting, and I'm more gutted for him than I am almost for the team because he's had a really good season as well. But it's not something you consider. You go, oh, that's it, season over, it's done, it's doom and gloom. We're absolutely gutted. But it's just one of the things. I can't see him really going in the January window and sign anyone. He doesn't seem like that kind of manager. Doesn't seem that's almost like a panic buy, unless they've already had it on their radar for several months. If this happens, this is plan B. If that happens, this is plan C. To go into the window and buy someone. I know we've been linked with a few Championship defenders to come in, but I actually wouldn't mind us sticking what we got and going for one of the youth players. And maybe I'm being a bit naive for saying that, but the way things have been going. We see the under 23s all the time. The players, Oka Flex up front. So people saying give him a chance because he's looking quite good in the under 23s and stuff like that. Maybe it's a time to get Jamal Baptiste or whoever else plays the centre back to go. You know what? Step up. We West Ham are a really, really, really momentous time right now where it almost seems like if someone goes in, they're going to go in confident and they're going to be looked after by the team and they're going to be boosted up. We haven't got to, it's not as if you go in, right, we've got to rely on you. We're in a relegation battle. You've got to be on tip-top form. It's like they're going to be anyway. They know the standard they've got to be at. There's no shirking it. We've set the standard now. So if you come in, you have to be good from the first minute onwards. And that's why a part of me is absolutely gutted, but also I'm not very worried either,
I think it's I don't want to take away from the fact, and I don't want people to think that I'm going, everything's going to be rosy. You don't want any of your players to be injured, but the faith is fully there in what Moyes has done. And it's very rare that you go through a full season and not have one or two really bad injuries. And we've managed the Soufal injury, we've managed the circumstances, and we've brought through Ben Johnson. Now, I had faith in what Ben Johnson was capable of doing even before that opportunity came up. That when he came in and he took over Soufal's position. But David Moyes has managed that circumstances, and the backup to Ben Johnson is Fredericks. So and then he's utilising players in different positions. He stated from day one when he was back in, I think it was back in January of last year when he was interested in bringing Tarkowski into the club, he wants to bring a centre-half into the club. He went and he got Zuma. He got Dawson as well at the same time. Dawson has deputised in that position. And let's not get this wrong. Dawson was part of the West Ham team that played most of the games last season. He played most of the games last season. And apart from maybe a couple of errors and missed time judgments and missed time tackles and a sending off against Newcastle, he's been a strong contender for a player. You could fairly say, people could fairly say it was harsh that he was potentially removed from the team to allow Zuma and Ogbonna to build this partnership. But the situation is that we now have these four central defenders that have stepped up to the plate, Dawson and Diop included, and people were several weeks ago calling for Ogbonna to be rested and Diop to come in alongside Zuma. And in the Premier League, we saw when he went off thinking just so it was down to his eye injury, that it would be Dawson or Diop was coming on, and it was Dawson that he favoured to come on the park. And like you said, Luke, he stepped up and he's shown West Ham in the Premier League, listen, I can turn up to the occasion and I can do this job. However, the big thing and the big concern is, how does Ogbonna recover from this injury? If this is going to be a long-term ACL injury at the age of 33, Ogbonna has just found the rhythm. He's got into the rhythm, look. He is playing very well. He is like a fine wine. He has matured so much with age. It's unbelievable. This could be the setback, which wouldn't be good for the rest of his West Ham career. I'm hopefully not judging the book by its. I'm really praying that he comes back and proves everyone absolutely wrong with this injury. But the concern about this particular injury is, can he bounce back? And if he does bounce back, what kind of player are we going to have on the way back? Really, what we're now saying, Luke, is we need a centre half to step into this role alongside Zuma, who's now going to be our first team centre half, week in and week out, and progress West Ham to the next level. That's why, yes, I'll jump into the comments in a minute. I do have faith in the young players, like we've mentioned. Alessi, I think he's fantastic. I personally think it's time for him to step up. I can see it. I know Baptiste has been in and around the bench. I think he's potentially capable of stepping up as well. But I think that Moyes will probably go back into the market. I do, because because he is so set in his ways defensively as well. I don't know. I know you mentioned there. He is, mate. I mean, I go back to, like, I always talk about it, the training sessions that I saw up at St Andrews. You know, I witnessed West Ham train twice up at St Andrews, and both sessions Moyes never went anywhere near apart from the defence. He only worked on the full sessions with the defence. Him and Stuart Pearce constantly were working defence. Alessi and Baptiste were massive parts of that defence training as well. So I wonder if we may see, you know, the way I think about it, Luke, is we have a month now till the not even a month. It's going to be a month and 3 weeks, is it, until the transfer window opens back up. So we've got 6 weeks, 7 weeks until this window opens back up. This is an opportunity now for Moyes to see what Dawson and Diop are capable of doing, potentially rely a little bit on the youth. It gives us a 6-week window before the window opens to know, do we need to go into the market or not?
What would you do? Would you promote a youth player, or would you go and buy someone? Or
Well, you can't buy.
Would you just stick and not twist at all?
The situation we find ourselves in is that we can't go and buy someone just now because the market's not open. So the situation is we've got to make do with what we've got. But I'm not just making do with what we've got. We've got good players. We've got players that we all have faith in. Players that have played 4 games in Europa League, won 3 and drew 1. Players that have turned up to the Carabao Cup and got us through to the quarterfinals. So, and I have to say it, back in the summer, I was calling for these two, Alessi and Baptiste, to make the step up to the squad. So right now, for 6 or 7 weeks, this is what I would do if I was David Moyes, and I think he's got no other choice but to do this, is to watch what happens with the players he's got. He's going to have Zuma, Diop, he's going to have Dawson, and he's potentially going to have the likes of Alessi, and he's going to have potentially the likes of Baptiste. Let's not forget that Declan Rice, worst case scenario, can step back into centre half. Not that we'll want that to happen, but he can.
He can. He won't get to that point.
We can also, if we really want to, we can switch formation and we can bring Creswell into the centre back pairing, and we could have Creswell, Diop, and Zuma.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking he could do that. But the only problem is that really you can't have him as a back 4 centre back. You'd need him as a back 3 or back 5. So then it would be Stell's worst nightmare come true again, and Masuaku would play something like left wing back or something like that just to compensate. I know exactly what you're saying. I kind of see it going the other way. I respect what you're saying and that and everything. It's for me. There's a part of me as well that can see Moyes going, well, I do want to spend money, but I don't really want to ask the owners because, you know what I mean? I don't think that they're going to be, especially with this takeover business going on. I can't see them being that easy with the money. Going, here's another 20 million. Go and buy something you need or something like that. You know.
The thing is, I think that I think Moyes will have money in January. I do. I don't.
But is that going to go on Lingard?
Well, no. Well, you know what? I base it on the fact that we've brought in Rob Newman, who's gone out scouting. Here's another point I want to make. Do I think that West Ham have been delighted with our centre backs? Yes. Do I think that they are not looking at centre backs even with us not losing an injury? I don't believe it for a second. I think they are still looking at centre backs. I think they have. If you think about the age of Dawson and Ogbonna, and potentially if someone like Ogbonna picks up an injury, that's just going to speed up that process. Now they were looking at centre backs in the summer to get us through this season. They brought in Zuma, who's made such a difference, who's stepped in and become a stonewall, like just an absolute machine at the back of that defence. But I don't doubt for a second they stopped looking at central defenders. And
I agree with that.
I think that they will have a list of players that they will be looking at. You could talk about players like we've been linked to all in the summer. I'll bring up one now, Coletta Carr, who plays at Marseille. 6'4", great mobility and strength, ranked second in the French league of aerial duels ones. Good ball distribution. Value could be 15 to 20 million pounds. He's 24 years old. He's won League One, Champions League, and he's got international experience. He's a Croatian international. Vlasic is at the club. You know,
he ain't coming. Pyatt will sour his opinion on it.
But the point I'm trying to make is, you know, we've got players that are there kicking about that we've been linked to through the whole of the summer that we could step in and bring in. So I think that we've already got communications in place. I think between Rob Newman and any of the scouting systems that West Ham have got, they're already investigating what would be. I mean, if West Ham do progress this year and keep progressing to the level, because I'm still buzzing, and even though this is crap news, I have massive faith. I've got so much faith in the squad, mate. I can't suddenly think one injury, and it's all over. And I'm going to even make a big bold statement here. I can't even sit there. As much as it would disappoint me, God forbid it happens. If this was Antonio, I can picture the whole of the Twitterverse and the Facebook social media verse having panic attacks and crashing down.
Yeah.
But we've had to play without the Antonio forward striker before, and it worked well because we had the likes of Lingard in the team, but we have so many creative players that we can go and play in that kind of false number 9 role. But we're not talking about that just now. We're talking about the defence. And I think there was a comment. I'm going to go through the comments, and I think
go for it.
Let me see if there's Toby. Toby made the point here.
Toby.
Where is it? He says, if you asked me to pick a first team player to get injured, if we had to have one, I'd have a centre back. That's where the backup is the strongest.
That's quite interesting, actually.
Now, Toby, I get that. You're not saying you want anyone to be injured. If you had to do worst case scenario, you know, that is you're totally.
See, I wouldn't have done that. That's strange. I wouldn't have done it. I'd have actually done more midfield because I think we've got cover for the midfield more than we have in a centre back, and especially as Ogbonna is a bit of a rock at the back. He goes a little bit asleep sometimes. I think he like you've always said, he has the
calamity.
In him, like every now and then, and it's you do see it sometimes in him. He goes a bit headless, but overall, he's one of our most reliable centre backs
over the last
consistent, reliable.
Last 2 years,
But I can actually see where he's coming from, and like we both said, as soon as we heard the news, yes, it was gutting, but there's also a part of you goes, we'll be all right, we'll be fine. So I do understand where he's come from. I am surprised he said that. I am surprised.
Well, let me have a look here. DJ Russie B's in the house. Bring back Breen. Gary Breen. All has been forgiven. Nick James says, now we all need a new centre-back if we want to keep this firm up and challenge top 4. So in January, we need Coletta Carr, Holozic and Lingard on the cheap, really pushing for a new backup left-back. It
all depends on how long he's out for. Because if he's out for a few months, say if it's not as bad, because sometimes these things are not as bad as people think they are, and they hear that ACL, they hear something, they go, that's it, season over. But it's not always that way, and sometimes older players can actually come back a bit quicker because they concentrate on their health so much to try and
prolong their career.
Right. And if he's out for say 4 months till about February, say, and January goes past, and you think to yourself, do I really want to spend? Because obviously it's going to take time to recover and then get back to training and full fitness and then match fitness and match sharpness, etc. All that is consideration. But if you think about it longevity-wise, you're in Moyes and you've got 3 eligible centre backs: Diop, Zuma, and Dawson. Right?
Yep.
And you're going to yourself, I could go out and buy a defender to go and replace Ogbonna. But what happens if he's only out for a few months and then he comes back in February? And then you potentially have 5 centre backs because this is based on the fact that we're still in all the competitions.
And you're
we're
right.
Still in Europe. We're still in
the one thing I'll add
League
to
Cup.
that is that we will probably know more in the next week or so. So we'll know more
That's what I'm
before the
saying.
window comes in. But then, even if the question could be like he's due to come back in March, what do West Ham do? Would it be so bad that we have five really strong centre backs whilst still in potentially quite a few competitions, whilst trying to progress the club? Maybe it's not a bad thing, but
it's not bad. This is a weird position because right now, I guarantee you're thinking exactly the same as me. It's actually not a bad position in a really, really weird, strange sense. It's not a bad position. It's actually, in fact, it almost answers more questions than it asks, because now you start to think, right, this is what we've been waiting for. Now we actually feel confident that the club will deal with this, and it's not something to worry about. I think West Ham a few years ago, the minute you heard about any injury, the whole club's in disarray. Everything's on fire. It's fine, but it's not. Now you're just like, is he injured? No worries. See you later, Oggy. Right, so you're in. That's it, done.
We can't. You could sit here and say, if you remember back when Leicester won the Premier League. I mean, I was going to do a show today, and the show was going to be completely different to what we're doing right now.
We both did.
It was all in the mindset of going, can we dream? Just like my dreams, I was going to call it, or and like my dreams, whatever. And it was going to be talking about. It was going to be a brief show in relation to what Stell was going to be probably talking about later on in his West Ham Weekly. He never done a weekly last night due to some circumstances, but he's doing one tonight, so don't worry about that. That will be coming tonight. Make sure you tune in later on for Styles one, and it'll be a long show, obviously. I'm going to do kind of mini version of dreams and the turnaround of West Ham. So, but this hasn't harpered my opinion of where we can be. This has not changed my opinion of where I think we can go and what we can do. Like what you said, look, there's positive signs. It's good. The coincidental thing is that it looked like he was about to sign a new contract as well.
Which I think, personally, the club should still encourage him to do. I think they should. I think he deserves it. I think he warrants it. This, like I said before, there's no... I'm not comparing people, right? I'm not saying he's at this standard, right? But Ibrahimovic, when he played at Man United, got one of the worst knee injuries they've ever seen in football. He was told by world-class doctors, we don't even think you're going to be able to walk again because your knee is that done. You're probably going to need a whole knee replacement, whatever. He stuck at it. He's got a massive scar on his knee. If you've ever seen Ibrahimovic play lately, he's got a massive scar on his knee. I think he's had it twice since he's had that injury for Man United. I'm not too sure. Someone can correct me if they know better than me. But there's players out there that have had seriously bad injuries and come back from it even stronger, to a point where they've concentrated, they've looked after themselves, has been fantastic. Now, for me, I don't think it would be right by the club to go, nah, do you know what, you've had an injury now, see you later. The way he's playing and the way we've relied on him so much since the start of the season, I think he A, deserves it, and B, the club should have some heart and go, no, you deserve it. Even for a couple of years.
But to throw the spanner in the works, and to be, go the other way. If we were to offer Ogbonna a contract and he was to be out for 9 months, his contract ends in the summer, look, and you're talking about offering a player who's just coming back, potentially, this is us, playing this game, being a bit devil's advocate, offering a player who's at 33, going on 34 with an ACL injury, a new contract. And now, fast forward to West Ham not doing so well, the first thing that people will be saying is, why the hell did you give Ogbonna a contract? Just like what we've done with Winston Reid. Although the circumstances were different with Winston Reid. Winston Reid got the contract before he got injured.
Winston Reid got the contract before he got injured. Plus, we were in a completely different position as a club overall.
But we just came off the back of a fantastic season at the last season at Upton Park.
We were fighting relegation and stuff when he got that injury, wasn't he? It was against Swansea, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was against Swansea, but we came off the back, is what I was trying to say. So he got, before his injury, he got given the 6-year contract.
When was it?
He then went and got injured. The point I'm trying to make is, giving a player who's coming back from an injury, I don't think West Ham will. I don't think.
How much is he on wages wise?
I think he
can't be on more than 70 grand a year. I mean, he probably should be, but I doubt he is.
I don't know. I can find.
Because if he's on any more than 70 grand a year, maybe you've got a point. But if he's on not that higher wages, I'm going to say 80 grand. I'm going to say 80 grand a week. That's what I reckon he's on. I don't know if I should get it.
Should be able to get it for you now. If you just keep go for it, go make your point, go for it.
Well, no, if he's on no more than 80 grand a week, which I doubt he is personally, I think it's a no-brainer to keep him on. And the reason why I say that is because we're going to be playing. We're aiming to finish minimum Europa League standard again, and depending on how far we go in the cup competitions and in the Europa League as well, possibly even trying to win it, that his wages will be a drop in the ocean for where we're going, for the money, for the income we have, for the players we're bringing in. We're going to look at it and go, oh, we can't give him that much. His wages are quite high. It doesn't matter. The way the club's going, the players we're going to bring in, the wages we're going to be offering anyway, it'll be a drop in the ocean. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be offering him any. The guy's been a stalwart. He's for me. I know you love Winston Reid and I love Winston Reid as well.
I was just using it as an example, yeah.
But I think to a point, you know, was Winston Reid a standout player at the time we offered him the contract? I mean, absolute standout player.
Absolutely.
Right? That Ogbonna is now the same. And I'm not saying Ogbonna's...
Yeah, they both are. They both were. They absolutely were. I think the thing for me is, you know, I mean, we're prejudging. We don't know what's going to happen. He could come back earlier than what we think. But
I'll tell you what, big question is for, right? People watching this chat get involved as well. If he hadn't got injured and they were dishing out contracts, would you say keep Ogbonna on? Or would you say take one off?
That's what I'm saying. So we were about to. It looked like we were about to extend his contract.
Not the club. I mean the fans. If fans are watching this, and fans got the opinion, before this injury even happened, would you have hands down 100% nailed on say yes, give him a contract? Why even question it? Why even put it out there? Now he's got an injury. Maybe we shouldn't do that. I honestly don't think people will. I think people would agree with me and say give him a contract.
Well, there you go. Get your comments in and let us know. You has saying good thing we got Diop and Dawson. Mikey's in the house. Even though I think Holosic would be a great addition for West Ham at the moment, I just give Diop a chance in the Prem. Dawson in the Cup and in Europe. Hammerhead saying still will need another centre back coming in January if it's a long injury and he's not young anymore. We've seen it before with Reid. He never came back the same. Then we'll give time for youngsters like Baptiste. WHUFC anterior cruciate ligament. Sadly, Augie will not return for another 12 to 15 months. Wishing him well on his recovery. Again, that depends on what the scan comes out and says. That's a huge pill to swallow at his age. Hope to see him make a good recovery. It really is, especially at his age. And God, we make 33 sound like it's so old, but in football terms, getting that injury, it's not great when you run your body to the ground.
31, 30. To be fair, I didn't realize he was 33. That's bad for me.
Hammerhead says we've got a load of centre backs at the club. Few out on loan. Frederick Alves is one, 22 years old, Danish, out on loan Sunderland, and they're in the quarters of the Carabao Cup. Mikey's saying thinking about getting him back to widen the options. Is he ready to start games? I really don't think he is. He's been playing regularly for Sunderland. They've been up and down in form, but seem to win more when he's playing. Mikey's saying I get that, but League One is different from the level West Ham's currently playing at. He's saying that I'm sure the big guys over at West Ham are thinking about it, though. I think I don't doubt for a second that West Ham have always been thinking about the centre backs, to be honest, and are probably looking at all positions. They're looking at strikers. They're probably looking at. The thing is, we play in such a world of football that the whole point of bringing a recruitment team in and scout system in is that you're trying to find the next best player.
Yeah.
So no matter what you've got in your ranks, if a better player comes up and is available, you will probably bring that player in because that is going to drive the current player you've got in your team to perform to the next level. So if we do look at bringing Lingard in, absolutely, because what it does is it makes all the other players that are playing there look behind them and go, oh, okay.
I'll tell you what I find interesting is you mentioned about when you were at St Andrews and you saw Moyes and Pearce concentrate specifically on defence. Yeah, who was working on the attacking side and the midfield side? Was it Kevin Nolan?
The rest of the coaching squads, yeah. So Kevin Nolan was with the strikers. Kevin Nolan and one of the other guys, and I don't know his name, was with the strikers. Diop was doing his own thing with one of the fitness coaches. He wasn't kind of involved in the actual games or anything like that. And another couple of coaches were over with the kind of central defensive midfielders. So it was like Noble, Rice wasn't there, Suchek wasn't there, Ekwa was there, Cullen was there at the time. No, it wasn't Cullen, Coventry, and all that sort of stuff. But Moyes specifically, and we've done a live stream, the whole thing from the training ground. Right. Moyes was consistently, he never left the defence. He never
It's quite
left the
amazing
defence.
that we're being quite clinical this season, considering we haven't had it worked on that much. You
Yeah,
think it makes you wonder how much better we would be in front of goal
yeah,
if they took the same. Well, not criticising. I mean, this worked out. There's no way you criticise what they've done, but it
yeah,
does make you wonder how much better we could be in attack and how much more clinical we'd be if they took the same thing. But maybe that's why we've been so good in defence, because they have spent that much time and they did see that the defence needed all that work compared to
yeah.
going forward. So
100%.
time with our
Toby,
coaches.
Toby's talking to you, Luke. Toby's talking to you, Luke. Luke,
How you
the
doing,
man, the
bud?
myth, the
Back
legend.
back to you, mate. Same back to you, bud.
Hammerhead saying, let's all hope it's just a sprain, lads.
Fingers crossed. Out
Simon
though.
Jordan, ultimate jobs worth. You can say that again, Hammerhead. If we do bring in another centre back, let's hope it's someone with some pace. Steve is saying, devastated for Augie, but he's been immense for us. Absolutely. Guys are saying, been through the wars. Augie. I mean, when I think back to the game in particular, we were all, I think, had our hands in our head when he went down initially. He got back up and he came back on, and we didn't. He looked okay. And coincidentally, the thing that took him off was a bloody cut eye. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what was funny? Because I think it must have been around the 80th minute mark, or when Liverpool got the second goal. My brother said to me, Dawson's not fit. And I went, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I watch him." And there's a couple of times where Dawson went like that on his like rested his hands on his knees, and I thought to myself, I don't say he's gone as well now. But then Dawson does that anyway. He seems to have that sort of phantom injury that he recovers after about a minute and he's fine. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I was thinking, oh, our defense is getting a bit fucking haggard there, because
Mate, but there's people though. Sorry to interject you there, but there's people that always, if I use my circumstances for example, I was around helping my brother-in-law the other day do something, lifting something, and I was breathing really heavily, and he was like, "Oh, you need to go and get that sorted." And I was like, "No," I said, yes, I've gained weight. Yes, I've gained weight,
same
but
here.
if I hadn't gained weight, I would still have been breathing out my arse. But the thing is, when I played football, I breathed out my arse, but I was so consistent of playing.
Yeah.
Like I could maintain that
Yeah,
level. You
you
know
can
what I mean? It
manage it,
was
can't you?
some people like that, and I think Dawson's a bit like that. He looks done in, but he's not.
He's
He's
got
a total.
a blood sugar thing, hasn't he? They said that they need to, when he first started. I don't know if they've sorted it out after the first 3 games, but about the first 3 games he played for us, he went down after about 10 minutes, just hit the ground as if someone had just sniped him.
Yeah.
And what they reckon his blood sugar level. So they said they had to give him an energy bar. After that, I think he didn't do that afterwards. I don't know if they did it before the game because they realised what he was going through, but it was like, no one's around him. He's not diving. There's no way he can get an advantage from this. And it was a bit worrying at first, and then now there was the first time he's been even close to doing it again, which was lucky he didn't, to be fair.
Toby's saying we were all creaming our pants over the young centre backs ready to come through. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Robert Singleton, it's not
Sounds
the
a bit
best
weird, that
news, but
one.
it might, I know it does. It's not the best news, but might make Moyes bring the youngsters like Baptiste or others, then look again in January. Gaz
Is it?
said he got injured against the Manx, now the Scousers. Mikey is saying I do like Dawson.
Same here.
Steve is saying could be seeing a youngster starting in Europa. Well, the thing is, this is what's interesting is now
Yes.
the circumstances is if we can get something from the next game, because
That's
I think he will start not fully, but I think we may see someone different that we're not used to seeing
Yeah,
start the next
I would
Europa
do
League
it.
game. And
Me
if we
not being
do,
Moyes, I would change
and
it.
if we do qualify immediately or whatever happens, then the last game in particular we will see a reasonable amount of changes, not loads, but now the fact that our hands been, we have to change something, then we can. Yeah. We win the next Europa League game, then play Baptiste in the last Europa League game. Clubs get injuries all the time and they're forced to deal with it. And Moyes, we trust 100%. No need to panic yet. Absolutely. Put Ben Johnson there with Soufal or Fredericks ready to go right backs. Good shout, Vito.
Not a bad shout at all. Not a bad shout
Good
at all.
shout. And he was about to get offered a contract with us as well. All ifs, buts, or maybes, even. Absolutely. Marshall saying, hey, big up West Ham Network. Credit to you guys for beating us to your ground. Fully deserved. We were whack. Much love from New York.
Oh, that must be a Liverpool fan.
Okay. Beating us to your ground.
Beating
I
us
can only think that'd be Leighton Orient. Or beating us at your... Oh, got you. There you go. There you go. Got it. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Nice one. Cheers.
If you ask me to pick first, we've already done that one. Priority for January window is a centre forward, backup Antonio, but Lingard is a must from Vito. Adrian is saying more concern for Ogbonna than the team. If he comes back strong in 6 months, it'll be difficult for him to get back in, and that could be the thing. It could be really difficult for him to come back in. But lads, we are still effing massive. We are.
it should be difficult for someone to get back in straight away. That's a good thing
100%,
about
mate.
the team in a minute.
Dr. Dawson should be a starter now ahead of Ogbonna. He okayed really good in Europa, and when we brought on against Liverpool, he was really solid. It's a good job we did bring in Zuma.
I thought he was getting booed his first few games.
Mate,
I
have you
didn't realise.
Have you seen the celebrations that me and Matt done?
Yeah,
We
I
need to
was
go
going to
back.
clip them. I was going to clip them and put them in a video because
I've gone absolutely wild. Matt's grabbed his phone, shaking it, and he's going like this, zoom for ages at the screen.
I always find, I know he's going to watch at some point. I always find, Matt, that he's very controlled in his celebration. He's very, yeah, we've scored. No worries, move on. Like compared to you, you just go fucking potty, and it's brilliant. But yeah, it was. Never seen him go that mental, to be fair. It's good.
He's saying we may return back to the Milenkovic deal. You never know. Do you reckon we'll buy a centre back in January? Possibly. I said from the start, Football and Oi Music, that we will got a 6-7 week window now to really judge what we, if at all, what we need. Toby Sampson saying, just thank the Lord it wasn't Antonio Rice. That's what I was going to say. I got lost with my train of thought. Leicester City went through a whole season, got very fortunate with injuries. They had a couple, nothing drastic. And if anyone got injured, it wasn't like a collection of 5 players at once. And that's how they went on. And that's, I was going to talk about that. Look, in my previous video, and just as I was about to talk about it, the news came through in Augie.
What makes me laugh is the fact that you're comparing us to Leicester's
no, I'm
season.
using.
But it's
all right.
Quite funny that you're putting it that context because I can't. I've been listening to Talk Sport this morning, and there's been loads of fans ringing in yesterday as well, saying we can win the league. We all, there's a few fans going, no, we can't win the league, but it'd be nice to even be in that position. And I can't bring myself to do it. And then you think of Leicester, and then you've just done it just now, which adds to it as well.
I'm only saying it on the back of a lot of what media attention has been recently. Context is, you've just beat the former champions of the Premier League quite convincingly. And you were asked the question, Moyes was asked the question, Pablo Fornals was asked the question, and you kind of take it on the basis of that. But yeah, I mean, but we look good, mate. We look good. I'm not getting carried away. I'm just saying we look good.
This is the best team ever.
We have good backup from Raymond. Vinay saying Dawson should start. He's like a missile for. He is, isn't he? At corners, he is just what. He's so one-dimensional. He's like he's so tunnel vision. It does not matter if you're in my way. I'm getting that ball, and I love it. And he'll throw it. He'll put his whole body on the line.
Dawson the Dalek.
Thank you very much, Marshall. Very kind of you, mate. Thank you.
Nice one.
What kind of injury does he have? ACL. We've just spoken all about it. There you go. Mikey's put it in there. It is pretty serious. We think he's going for a scan. We'll wait and find out. Dawson's probably the best in the air at the whole club. He'll get a couple of goals at least from Toby. Robert says the club have said they will give him a new contract for the year. Have they come out and said that since? I don't know, mate. I don't know, Robert. I don't know. Peter John, Marshall, was you having coffee before the game in the club shop? There you go. This show is sponsored by Beards R Us. They are, mate. They are. Well done.
You have got a better beard than me, to be fair. I can't get mine to grow on the cheeks very well. That's the only shame.
I think Soufal has played centre half for previous clubs and country before. Also, Alessi and Baptiste were able to step up, experienced around them. 100%. I agree with you. Yes, there's no reason not to give him a new contract, and that is money. Yes, there is a reason not to give him a new contract, and that is money. I don't know if that's in relation to us talking about answering your question that you asked about giving Augie.
Yeah, how much he's on already.
I think no matter what, we should get an extension to his contract.
Is it an automatic extension, or is it one we've got to negotiate with him with?
I think it's a negotiation, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Toby saying 100% offer him a new deal. For bringing the youngsters through as soon as experience will help their development massively, like Noble and Rice. Anil Dawson for the Premier League, the French triangle, Zuma, Diop, Areola, and Europa. What do you think? Could be a shout. I think we've always been talking about that French triangle. So, yeah. John Layton, Dawson blocked a point-blank shot to the balls. After that, he kept having trouble and going to his knees.
That's what it is. Okay, fair enough. No, I didn't realise at the time. No, that makes sense, to be fair.
I love how blatant that is as well.
He done well to stay on his knees, to be fair to him.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if Moyes took Phil Jones on loan in January to the end of the season. Toby, don't take me out. All right, talking about winning the league, we're on for the quadruple, boys. No chance of you being carried away, Anton. Absolutely not, Peter. Listen, I mean, I've got to go ahead and do some stuff for the rest of the day, but there you go. There's your news. Augie is out. We're waiting to find out the full extent of his injury. He's got an ACL, as we've discussed. Myself and Matt, we could go in depth about what players we could bring in, but we wanted to bring you the news very briefly. But we've got Dawson in the ranks, we've got Diop in the ranks, we've got Alessi Baptiste in the ranks. So it will be interesting to see what West Ham and David Moyes does. Make sure you join Still tonight for his West Ham Weekly, delayed by a day. That will be on tonight. I think he's got a show planned. I don't know if this may change a little bit of his show, but you never know. So we'll see what he's going to do.
Do you see one of the latest comments? Apparently, football or music. The last comment, very, very latest comment we've got. It says Ogbonna's on 70 grand a week.
There you go.
I'm taking that as a genuine comment. He must know. Probably knows more than me. Should be on his channel probably. But if it was just for 70 grand a week, I'd renew it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into one. We're going to end the video now.
It's only a sprain. He could be back in 8 weeks. So we have to wait and see. But the good thing about what we've got is we've now got a window of opportunity here. Look, that's really how I'm going to finish the show. We've got a window of opportunity. If this had happened back in August, there may be a bit more of a concern because we'd have longer to wait. But now we're nearly in the middle of November. We've got a little bit of time in our hands. We can maybe see what's going to happen moving forward. We're going to have 6 or 7 weeks of seeing players step up, maybe some youth players. Moyes will then know come January when the window opens if he needs to go into the market or not, and then we'll visit that when it comes.
I've never felt more positive after a big injury. It's really weird.
Weird.
It is
weird.
Very strange.
If you're new around here, go and subscribe. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Please hit that subscribe button, leave the thumbs up, and of course, leave a comment. He has been any last words, mate?
Watching. Do not fear. I know my name says "and so it begins," but that's me being a bit doom and gloom. But have no fear. Come back. Walls away. Back to winning ways, and we are massive. We are mahoosive, as I like to say. We are mahoosive, not just massive.
So just Robert Singleton said, The Athletic said Angelo Ogbonna contract will be extended by West Ham, even if he is out for the season with the ACL injury. I'm also going to bring you up before we do go. No. Listen, I'm not like Stell. I love all our players. I'm a West Ham fan, as we all are. At the end of the day, let me just bring you up his tweet. Oggie's tweet. He actually just put something up 35 minutes.
Why now?
35 minutes ago, just so you can all see it there. Unfortunately, my knee forces me to take a break and return as soon as possible to fight with you. Of course, I'm devastated. I can't continue our battle from the field, but as a fighter, I'll be back till my return. I'll be supporting the team in this truly special year. See you soon, guys. Do you know what, Oggie? Sign him up! Sign him up! Nah, all the best, Oggie. I really do wish you a speedy recovery. We do. It'd be good if we can get you singing on all cylinders and get you back fighting. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Stay safe, everyone. Stay positive and join Stell tonight for his West Ham Weekly. Come on, you Irons.